humans crossed the remote lands of the Yukon, before science understood the massive routes connecting its mountains, forests and tundras, there already existed a world where migrating was a race against winter. In wild Yukon, among endless rivers, mountain passes and vast tundras whipped by the cold, massive movements of life follow the rhythm of the seasons, while each creature must find food, overcome long distances, and endure a climate capable of pushing it to the limit. Welcome to Wild Yukon, the Great Migration and the struggle to survive the extreme cold. Please give us a like and subscribe to the channel to give us more motivation to continue creating quality content. Don't forget to comment your thoughts on the video below and let us know where you're watching from to discuss together. Let's start. The Arctic tundra stretches like a white and desolate canvas under a pale sky, where the horizon seems to merge with the eternal ice of the north. The silence of this vast kingdom is only interrupted by the whisper of the wind traveling through the infinite and empty plains of polar geography. Winter howls with a frozen fury as temperatures drop below -40 degrees Celsius, demanding extreme physical endurance from every living creature. This relentless cold acts as an invisible wall that threatens to stop the heartbeat of nature if constant movement ceases. Out of the mist emerge the silhouettes of thousands of caribou, gentle giants whose bodies are biologically designed to resist the harshest climates on Earth. With their heads low and steady steps, these nomads of the ice represent the unwavering will of life in the midst of desolation. Their primary goal is to travel more than 1,000 kilometers in an epic migration to reach protected grasslands and breeding sanctuaries. They need to find necessary nutrients before the snow completely covers the last source of plant energy remaining in the valley. If the herd is delayed in its journey, exhaustion and lack of food will decimate the ranks of the youngest and weakest individuals in the herd. Failure to reach the destination on time means the next generation will not have enough strength to face the challenges of the coming year. The herd leaders guide the way through deep valleys and treacherous rivers by trusting an ancestral memory deeply etched in their instincts. They seek the safest trails where the ice is firm enough to bear the weight of thousands of travelers in search of hope. Their wide hooves act as natural snowshoes that can expand to provide stability on soft ground and serve as shovels to dig for food under the ice. Additionally, their thick and hollow fur traps air, creating an unparalleled thermal barrier that allows them to float easily when crossing currents of many newtons. The path becomes difficult when the herd must cross narrow canyons where the wind blows at 100 kilometers per hour, making every step difficult. Predators watch from the heights, waiting for any sign of fatigue among the stragglers to launch a silent raid on the rear of the herd. The herd plunges into a freezing river in a burst of collective energy to avoid getting trapped on the unprotected shore before the eyes of the enemy. Each individual struggles against the cold water, hitting their flanks, while the adults protect the young with their bodies in this decisive encounter for life. The success of the river crossing ensures that thousands of caribou can continue their march southward, keeping the heartbeat of the tundra alive amidst adversity. Reaching the lowlands offers a brief respite and necessary nutrients to replenish the muscle strength lost in the harsh polar journey. These creatures are the engineers of the ecosystem, whose migration redistributes life and ensures the health of the coldest lands on our blue planet. Their journey is a testament to biological resilience and the will of life to prevail against all obstacles of wild nature. However, winter has not ended and new shadows are falling from the mountains, signaling that the encounter with their oldest rival is imminent. The trail left in the snow is closely followed by yellow eyes, waiting for the right moment to appear under the pale northern light. The boreal forests of the Yukon stand like needle-shaped sentinels under the deep snow, where the wind whistles through the frost-laden spruce branches. The landscape is a labyrinth of shadows and infinite white that challenges the orientation of any living being that dares to cross it in search of shelter. The silence of the mountain is broken by the crackling of ice under the weight of a group of hunters moving with perfect coordination among ancient tree trunks. The presence of these predators is felt in the air before it is seen, charging the atmosphere with a tension that only hunger can create. A pack of Yukon grey wolves, led by an alpha pair weighing 50 kilograms each, patrols the borders of the tundra, following the fresh trail of the Great Migration. Their bodies are designed for the war against winter, carrying a will of iron transmitted in every stride over the frozen ground. Their primary goal is to locate a vital protein source to feed family members who have endured weeks of scarcity under the polar sky. Every decision of the leader is a bet on life, searching for the exact moment when others' weakness becomes their opportunity to prevail. If they fail in this hunt, the metabolic cost of tracking for kilometers will deplete their last fat reserves, threatening the integrity of the social group. In the Yukon, energy is a cruel exchange currency, where excessive spending without reward inevitably leads to a fragility that does not forgive mistakes. The wolf pack uses its acute sense of smell to detect scent particles suspended in the air that signal the proximity of thousands of caribou moving constantly. This sensory ability allows them to navigate in the shadows of the forest, finding invisible paths that lead them directly into the heart of the ungulate herd. This species possesses a prodigious physical endurance that allows them to run at 60 kilometers per hour over long distances to tire their opponents. Their strategy is not based on explosive speed, but on the ability to maintain a constant pace until their prey's cardiovascular system begins to falter. The pack detects a young caribou that has fallen behind due to mild muscle fatigue, becoming the strategic target of the hunting operation. The wolves communicate through subtle visual signals, sealing off the terrain to separate the chosen individual from the protective mass of its congeners. The pack spreads out in a fan to surround the prey, while the alpha male coordinates rapid attacks to force the animal into the deep snow. The caribou struggles to maintain balance, but the constant pressure from the hunters exhausts its last strength in a duel of pure endurance. With an impact of several newtons, the hunters ensure the final encounter on the frozen surface, guaranteeing that the family can replenish lost energy. The result is a victory of collective tactics over individual strength, allowing the life cycle to continue under the polar stars. This balance between predator and prey is fundamental to the health of the tundra, as it eliminates individuals with biological weaknesses. By acting as natural regulators, wolves ensure that only the fittest survive to lead the next great migration across the frozen continent. The pack's success ensures its place in the boreal circle of life, but a massive silhouette watches from the thicket, waiting for its opportunity. A new resident of large size approaches the feast, reminding them that in the Yukon, power hierarchy can always be challenged by brute force. The spring sun begins to melt the white mantle of the Rocky Mountains, while the meltwater flows through the ravines with a constant murmur. Life wakes up with the scent of moist earth, emerging after months of deep and frozen sleep under the northern sky. Hunger is a silent threat that pressures the forest inhabitants after their long winter withdrawal in the depths of the earth. Time is pressing to recover lost calories before strength is definitively exhausted under the light of the new season. A grizzly bear, a 300-kilogram giant, emerges from a deep cave, walking heavily on the snow that still resists on the slopes. Its lean body shows signs of a prolonged fast, but its gaze retains the determination of an ancestral monarch of wild nature. Its primary goal is to locate any energy source that allows it to stabilize its metabolism after the long period of lethargy. It needs to find nutritious roots or animal remains that winter has left behind to safely restart its complex biological engine. If it fails in this initial search, its organism will begin to degrade muscle tissue in a dangerous way to obtain basic survival energy. Success in finding nourishment is the only thing that guarantees it can face the territorial and social challenges that will come with the arrival of summer. The bear uses its long claws to churn the frozen mud, searching for the roots of plants that are beginning to sprout with the moisture from the snowmelt. It scans every corner of the valley with meticulous patience, while the wind carries chemical messages from the farthest slopes of the mountain. The grizzly possesses a sense of smell that is thousands of times more acute than the human one, allowing it to detect food kilometers away, even underground. This sensory capacity is its biological compass in an environment where sight is limited by the density of the firs and thousand-year-old pines. The rocky terrain and still frozen ground make extracting tubers buried deep under the surface layer of the earth difficult. Each physical effort consumes valuable energy that the animal must manage with extreme care so as not to collapse before reaching its nutritional goal. Suddenly, its nose catches the metallic aroma of the remains of an ungulate that have been exposed under the slowly retreating snow. The giant quickens its pace, ignoring the accumulated fatigue as it approaches the find that could mean the difference between life and extreme weakness. The bear claims the prize by using its large body mass to deter other competitors roaming the area in search of an easy opportunity. Consuming proteins and fats revitalizes its muscle fibers, allowing warmth and strength to finally return to its imposing biological structure. Its flexible diet allows it to adapt to seasonal changes, becoming an essential regulator of the biomass of the mountain ecosystem where it lives. The grizzly is the architect of the forest, whose constant search for food helps oxygenate the soil and recycle vital nutrients for nature. With renewed strength, the giant observes the valley as the snowmelt opens new paths toward the heart of the virgin northern forest. However, the arrival of summer will bring new challenges and competitors that will test its dominance in this untamed kingdom full of dangers. The tundra plain transforms into an immense nursery under the perpetual light of the midnight sun that never sets. The wind caresses the short grass while the cold air brings the scent of life sprouting in this desolate corner of the Arctic. But this sanctuary of life is also a magnet for the sharpest eyes patrolling the horizon in search of any weakness. Shadows glide between the low bushes, revealing the presence of hunters waiting for the exact moment to intervene in the afternoon calm. A young caribou, barely weighing a few kilograms, tries to maintain its balance on its long and shaky legs. Beside it, its mother observes with tense vigilance as the instinct for protection dominates every one of her movements in the open terrain. The young one's immediate goal is to gain enough strength to keep up with the herd, which will soon resume its march to the south. It needs to strengthen its muscles before the environment becomes more demanding and the paths filled with obstacles difficult to overcome. If the newborn lags behind in its physical development, it will become an easy target for the wolves watching from a distance. Separation from the group's protective mass is a sentence that nature usually executes without mercy in the vastness of the polar landscape. The mother constantly searches for the best grass and the safest refuge among the rocks while guiding her little one with soft and constant sounds. Each step is a lesson on how to navigate a world where vigilance is the only shield against the dangers lurking in the gloom. Caribou are precocial animals, capable of standing up just 30 minutes after being born to avoid terrestrial predators. This adaptation is vital, as within only 24 hours they must be able to run at a considerable speed so as not to be left behind by the herd. Imminent danger. A golden eagle launches from the sky with an impact force of several newtons, trying to separate the calf from its mother's protection. The air fills with tension as the bird of prey uses its large wingspan to disorient the small pair in the valley. With a rapid reaction, the mother interposes herself between her offspring and the sky, allowing the little one to escape toward the thickness of the main group. The success of this encounter ensures that the family bond remains intact, guaranteeing the continuity of the species under the pale light of northern Canada. However, summer is short, and the arrival of snowstorms will force the young to face even greater challenges in the future. The road to the south is strewn with dangers that will test the endurance of every member in this kingdom of eternal and wild ice. While the hunt continues on the ground, another predator observes every movement from the mountain heights. It is the golden eagle Aquila chrysaetos, one of the most powerful birds of prey in the mountainous regions of the northern hemisphere. Its extraordinary vision allows it to detect small mammals from hundreds of meters high with surprising precision. It takes advantage of the thermal updrafts that travel along the slopes to glide for long periods with hardly any wing beats. Its enormous talons exert enough force to quickly immobilize most of its prey. However, strong winds, fog, and snowstorms can turn a day of hunting into a nearly impossible mission. From high in the sky, the eagle describes wide circles while carefully examining the terrain. Far below, a rabbit leaves its refuge to feed among the grass and rocks of the mountain. The raptor immediately fixes its gaze on the small silhouette and begins to lose altitude slowly. Taking advantage of the slope, it accelerates with hardly any noise while rapidly reducing the distance. At the decisive moment, it partially folds its wings and begins a dizzying dive toward the prey. Its powerful talons reach the rabbit before it manages to take refuge among the rocks. With powerful wing beats, it rises again, carrying the catch firmly between its legs. Each hunt requires a perfect combination of patience, precision, and mastery of the mountain's air currents. On the summits, the golden eagle proves that extraordinary vision, masterly flight, and a lightning attack are enough to turn the sky into the territory of the supreme predator. In the taiga forest, surviving sometimes depends on a single skill, disappearing before the predator can see you. It is the snowshoe hare, Lepus americanus, a species perfectly adapted to the long northern winters. Its enormous hind feet distribute its weight on the snow, allowing it to move quickly where other animals would sink. Its coat changes color with the seasons, passing from brown in summer to white in winter, to blend in with the environment. However, it forms part of the diet of almost all medium-sized predators of the taiga, from lynxes to foxes and owls. Every day forces this hare to balance the need to feed with the constant risk of being discovered. Among the snow-covered bushes, the hare searches for tender shoots and small branches to feed itself. Its long ears remain attentive while it continuously scans the forest around it. Suddenly, a lynx appears silently among the trees, taking advantage of the forest cover. The hare detects the danger at the last moment and begins a rapid flight through the snow. With agile changes of direction, it tries to break the predator's pursuit rhythm. Its white color blends again with the winter landscape as it traverses clearings and thickets. After a few moments of tension, the lynx loses sight of the prey among the vegetation and the snow. For the hare, each escape represents a new opportunity to survive until the next dawn. In the immense taiga, the snowshoe hare proves that camouflage, speed, and the ability to react in a fraction of a second can be the difference between life and death. Over the sky of the northern lands, a V formation announces the return of the most persistent travelers of the Arctic geography. The Canada goose, scientifically Branta canadensis, moves from temperate latitudes toward boreal wetlands for its reproductive cycle. Its physiognomy stands out with a long and dark neck that contrasts with its greyish plumage, a structure designed for efficiency in long-distance flights. They possess a body mass that can reach 6 kilograms, allowing them to accumulate the energy reserve necessary to cross continents. Upon reaching their destination, they locate areas near lakes and marshes where the snowmelt releases essential nutrients from the earth. The male assumes a role of absolute guardian, patrolling the perimeter of the nest with tireless vigilance and authority. After the eggs hatch, both parents coordinate the movement of their little ones toward open meadows for their sustenance. Their diet is based on the processing of grasses, sedges, and aquatic plants that bloom under seasonal solar radiation. The technical precision of their navigation allows them to cover distances of 1,000 kilometers in a single coordinated displacement. They communicate through rhythmic calls that establish the cohesion of the flock and warn of the presence of terrestrial trackers. Faced with a threat, they expand their wings and emit hissing sounds to deter any intruder approaching their family unit. As regulators of the flora in wetlands, their activity ensures the biological balance of Canada's boreal ecosystems. Their capacity for adaptation allows them to thrive in various reliefs, from natural meadows to environments modified by human geography. At the end of the summer cycle, the group prepares again for its transit toward the warmer latitudes of the hemisphere. The Canada goose is the architect of the wind, a symbol of persistence that connects life between the continent's extremes. In the Arctic firmament, a tracker of superior ingenuity emerges who dominates the geography with unparalleled cunning and cognitive flexibility. The common raven, scientifically Corvus corax, is the monarch of intelligence among the winged inhabitants of the Canadian taiga. Under its obsidian plumage, this being travels distances of 50 kilometers daily, following the steps of the great caribou herds. It constantly monitors the transit of moose and reindeer, waiting for the precise moment to access available organic matter remains. Its cognitive capacity is phenomenal, possessing a spatial memory that allows it to locate energy sources hidden under the thick snow. It uses technical distraction tactics to divert the attention of other predators and strategically ensure its own nutrition source. With a mass of 1.2 kilograms, this winged strategist demonstrates an audacity that challenges much more massive beings in the biological encounter. Its language includes complex vocalizations that coordinate group movement and alert to the presence of trackers in the forest gloom. It often establishes interactions with wolves, taking advantage of its aerial agility to obtain energetic benefits from the hunting pack's success. They withstand the extreme thermal conditions of northern Canada thanks to an optimized metabolism and a highly resilient physical structure. As a biological regulator, its activity ensures the efficient removal of surplus organic matter, maintaining the health and balance of the boreal ecosystem. The common raven is the guardian of the forest's secrets, a masterpiece of evolution that reigns with wisdom amidst the cold. Descending toward the valleys, where rivers meander through the thicket, a figure emerges whose scale challenges all conventional proportion. The moose, technically known as Alces alces, is the most massive and powerful member of the deer family on the planet. An adult male can reach a mass of up to 700 kilograms, consolidating itself as a titan of muscles in the Canadian geography. Its height at the shoulder exceeds 2 meters, allowing it to monitor the environment from a position of absolute sovereignty. Its palmate antlers are natural engineering structures that can extend 1.8 meters, demonstrating its vitality and biological status. It possesses exceptionally long limbs that act as biomechanical stilts to navigate through marshes and dense vegetation. These legs generate an impact power measured in thousands of newtons, capable of deterring even the boldest tracking groups. Faced with the approach of a wolf pack, the moose uses its mechanical force to establish an impassable and vigorous defense. Its diet is based on the processing of aquatic plants and tender shoots, obtaining the minerals necessary to sustain its great volume. During the summer cycle, it consumes up to 30 kilograms of organic matter daily to optimize its vital energy reserves. However, the arrival of the boreal winter imposes a critical challenge when the snow thickness exceeds 1 meter in height. Movement through the white mantle demands a phenomenal metabolic expenditure that quickly exhausts the stamina of the forest giant. To conserve its internal heat, it must limit its movements and seek refuge among the conifers where solar radiation is more stable. As a keystone species, its browsing activity influences forest structure, promoting the dynamism and health of the riparian ecosystem. The Canadian moose is the guardian of the riverbeds, a wonder of adaptation that reigns with a terrifying and majestic elegance. In the frigid landscapes of the Yukon territory, an agile tracker finds its place through cunning and mastery of the small details. The red fox, scientifically named Vulpes vulpes, is the master of opportunism in the extreme northern geography. Its intense crimson coat provides a vibrant contrast against the white relief, acting as a signal of vitality. It possesses a body mass of barely 7 kilograms, a light structure designed for constant mobility and absolute stealth. Its most powerful sensory tool is its hearing, capable of detecting subtle frequencies emitted by small rodents under the ground. This technical precision allows it to locate vital energy sources hidden under a 1 meter layer of dense snow. Upon perceiving a signal, the fox performs a majestic parabolic jump, using gravity to penetrate the frozen surface. Its encounter strategy is based on quickness, neutralizing its target's mobility with a millimetric and accurate intervention. While large trackers compete for massive prey, this strategist thrives by exploiting diverse resources in the ecosystem. Its diet is extremely flexible, including everything from small vertebrates to wild fruits available according to the season. Its thick tail acts as a biomechanical balance beam, allowing it to make direction changes at a speed of 50 kilometers per hour. In the rugged relief, it uses its agility to navigate between obstacles, maintaining a technical advantage over its terrestrial competitors. During Arctic nights, its eyes amplify stellar light radiation, monitoring the environment with superior sensory clarity. It establishes its territorial sovereignty through chemical marks that warn other individuals of the ownership of its forest domain. As a biological regulator of rodent populations, the red fox ensures the balance and health of the Yukon tiger. Where the tiger fades and the Arctic tundra extends its white domain, a winged figure of absolute purity emerges. The snowy owl, technically named Bubo scandiacus, is the silent sentinel of the coldest plains of Canada. Its coat of white feathers is a superior thermal insulation structure, being the bird species with the densest plumage on the planet. It possesses a body mass of up to 3 kilograms, which gives it the inertia necessary to maneuver in winds exceeding 50 kilometers per hour. Its massive amber eyes act as high-definition lenses, capable of locating the movement of a lemming at great distances. Unlike other nocturnal trackers, this winged sovereign patrols its domain under the constant solar radiation of the polar summer. Its auditory system captures subtle mechanical frequencies under the snow, allowing it to intercept its energy source with millimetric precision. Upon identifying a signal, it initiates a low-level and silent flight to neutralize the reaction capacity of the small tundra rodents. Its talons exert a mechanical pressure measured in newtons, ensuring success in each biological encounter over the mineral relief. It is an inexhaustible nomad that can travel distances of thousands of kilometers to locate areas of greatest nutritional abundance. As the supreme regulator of the Arctic food chain, its presence ensures that the North's biological balance remains stable. The snowy owl is the essence of eternal winter, a wonder of evolution that reigns with elegance and sovereign power. On the highest summits, where the relief challenges verticality, pure white silhouettes emerge over the mineral grey of the mountain. The Dall sheep, known scientifically as Ovis dalli, is the absolute sovereign of the precipices in the most remote regions of Canada. Its hooves feature hard outer edges and cushioned centers that provide absolute adherence to the rocky surface. This technical specialization allows them to move through 60-degree slopes with an agility that seems to ignore the environment's gravity. An adult male can reach a mass of 100 kilograms, bearing spiral antlers that are symbols of its biological vitality. Its snow-colored coat gives it perfect thermal camouflage among the frozen peaks of the northern geography. However, its safety is compromised when they must descend toward the lower valleys in search of grasses and essential nutrients. In the lower relief, its visibility increases before the constant monitoring of trackers such as the grey wolf and the grizzly bear. Before any sign of foreign presence, they initiate a strategic withdrawal toward the inaccessible heights of the mineral relief to ensure their well-being. Success in its vertical displacements is the key to its persistence in one of the most rigorous environments on the planet. As a regulator of high-altitude flora, its grazing activity influences the renewal and health of the region's alpine meadows. The Dall sheep is the guardian of the summits, a masterpiece of evolution that reigns with an unbreakable elegance. The boreal landscape transforms while the gaze plunges into the cold and turbulent waters of the Yukon river system. This liquid world hides one of the most amazing endurance feats on the planet, where life moves against gravity. Thousands of Chinook salmon begin an epic journey after having spent several years of maturation in the depths of the North Pacific Ocean. Their goal is to reach the gravel beds where they themselves were born, to ensure the continuity of their ancestral lineage. These 30-kilogram travelers depend exclusively on their accumulated fat reserves because they stop feeding upon entering the river. The energy stored in their tissues must be enough to sustain a journey of more than 3,000 kilometers through freezing waters. The water's force generates a constant pressure of several newtons that forces each fish to perform a supreme muscular effort in every meter advanced. This biological feat transforms its morphology, while its internal organs degrade to give priority to the production of reproductive cells. In the rapids, the salmon uses its motor power to propel itself out of the water, overcoming physical obstacles that seem impassable under the northern light. The risk of exhaustion is real, but the instinct to return to its origin is much stronger than any fatigue accumulated in the journey. Its arrival transports tons of nitrogen and phosphorus from the sea to the interior of the tundra, functioning as a nutrient pump for the forest. This cycle ensures the fertility of the boreal soils, allowing vegetation and terrestrial animals to thrive in this demanding ecosystem. However, the end of its journey is observed by hungry eyes waiting on the banks of shallow and crystalline rivers. The dark-skinned giants prepare to intercept this flow of vital energy, marking the start of the most active season of wild nature. The Yukon River transforms into a stage of frenetic vitality where the crystalline and shallow waters reflect the shine of the Arctic sun on the worn rocks. The constant murmur of the water flowing between the pebbles creates an atmosphere of tension while the ecosystem prepares for the most important event of the year. Time is a scarce resource because the grizzly must accumulate up to 90 kilograms of subcutaneous fat to resist the months of winter lethargy without food. This race against the biological clock demands maximum efficiency to transform the river's biomass into the thermal reserve that will save its life in the cave. A large male grizzly bear weighing 350 kilograms positions itself on a strategic rock in a stretch where the channel narrows and the water barely covers its feet. Its small but attentive eyes scan every silvery reflection, struggling to advance against the current in this labyrinth of stone and foam. The predator uses its sense of smell and sight to detect the water agitation produced by the Chinook salmon, while the fish exerts a force of several newtons to overcome the obstacle. Patience is the giant's primary tool, knowing how to wait for the exact moment when its prey's trajectory is predictable and vulnerable. The bear prefers stretches of water that do not exceed 0.5 meters in depth, where the fish's agility is limited by the relief of the riverbed. This tactical choice minimizes the predator's energy expenditure, allowing it to perform successful catches with a quick movement of its powerful limbs. The grizzly remains motionless as an extension of the stone, while hunger pressures its senses to perform an action of absolute precision under the sunset light. A failure in calculating the movement would mean wasting a valuable opportunity to obtain the proteins necessary for its muscle and organ structure. With amazing speed, it launches its powerful paw to intercept the salmon, while its jaws close over the fish's body with an inescapable force. The technique is masterful, ensuring that the energy source does not escape while the water agitates violently around it in a burst of movement. Victory guarantees that the colossus can ingest the richest nutrients, concentrating on the skin and fatty tissue to optimize its preparation for the cold. Each catch is one more brick in the construction of the biological shield that will allow it to face temperatures as low as 40 degrees Celsius below zero. This intensive diet is vital for the animal to increase its weight drastically before the snow covers the surface of the Arctic tundra again. The relationship between the bear and the salmon is the engine that moves energy from the ocean into the heart of the northern Rocky Mountains. The autumn sun begins to decline, and the wind brings with it the aroma of ice, indicating that the time of abundance is finally about to end. Stillness returns to the river, but a new shadow is projected over the valley, signaling that the life cycle will face its hardest test. As one moves away from the frozen summits, the gaze plunges into a sea of green needles that defines the heart of the Yukon Territory. The taiga, or boreal forest, acts as a massive biological shield between the Arctic tundra and the temperate lands of the south. The relief is dominated by resistant species like pine and spruce, trees that have perfected their structure to withstand the weight of the snow. Beneath the surface of this green domain, the ground remains in a state of perpetual freezing known as permafrost. Despite its gelid appearance, natural wildfires are a motor of renewal that clears away old organic matter. Temperatures in this plant sanctuary fluctuate drastically, often descending below -40 degrees Celsius in winter. The forest density offers a strategic refuge where wind speed decreases, protecting inhabitants from the climate's hostility. The massive moose finds a sanctuary here to process tender shoots, using its large volume to navigate between century-old trunks. The Canadian lynx patrols the taiga shadows, trusting its sharp senses to locate discrete energy sources. Astute trackers like the red fox and the grey wolf use the forest cover to coordinate their biological encounters successfully. Countless species of migratory birds return every summer cycle, transforming the mineral silence into a symphony of aerial vitality. The taiga is a mosaic of life that ensures the nutrient flow remains dynamic in one of the planet's most rigorous reliefs. It acts as an immense carbon sink, regulating atmospheric stability and maintaining air purity in the Northern Hemisphere. The persistence of this ecosystem depends on its ability to resist a winter that extends for more than 7 months a year. The boreal forest of the Yukon is the vibrant lung of the North, a pillar of biodiversity that sustains the harmony of wild nature. When the sun begins to trace lower arcs on the horizon, the geography of the Yukon plunges into an absolute chromatic transformation. The days shorten with a technical speed, emitting a biological signal that activates the urgency of survival in every corner of the relief. The taiga foliage adopts copper and reddish tones, creating a mosaic of plant fire before the arrival of the persistent cold. Caribou herds accelerate their migratory transit, mobilizing their limbs with a stamina that challenges accumulated fatigue. The grizzly bear enters a state of hyperphagia, consuming up to 20 kilograms of berries and proteins in a single solar day. This colossus must optimize its fat reserves exponentially to ensure its homeostasis during the long period of lethargy. The red squirrel patrols the forest floor with incessant activity, collecting and storing hundreds of seeds in underground deposits. Each seed is a vital energy resource that will be meticulously processed when the surface is covered by the white mantle. Elite predators monitor individuals showing signs of weakness, evaluating the efficiency of their tactical encounters. Nature rigorously selects the fittest beings, guaranteeing that the flow of organic energy remains dynamic and healthy. The first blast of crystalline snow descends over the valleys, marking the beginning of a thermal block that will last several months. The liquid in the streams begins to solidify at its margins, altering the sound geography of the boreal forest with a majestic silence. Migratory birds emit their last calls before taking flight toward latitudes where solar radiation is more constant. The coat of terrestrial inhabitants increases its density millimetrically, establishing a thermal barrier against the climate's hostility. The race before winter is a testimony to biological intelligence, where each action ensures the persistence of life in the Yukon. Under temperatures that descend to 50 degrees Celsius below zero, the Yukon environment transforms into an invisible and omnipresent opponent. The grizzly bear has completed its withdrawal toward the underground refuge, optimizing its homeostasis through deep and prolonged lethargy for months. The massive moose moves with superior technical difficulty, as each step in the 1-meter-deep snow exhausts its physical stamina. The grey wolf pack must increase the frequency of its biological encounters to compensate for the massive energy expenditure caused by the gelid environment. The Canadian lynx and the red fox trust their winter coat, a high-density thermal barrier that minimizes the dissipation of body heat. The lynx's limbs act as biological snowshoes, allowing it to float over the white surface with minimum mechanical pressure on the snowy relief. Survival in this relief is defined by a relentless equation between the calories obtained and the energy needed to maintain constant life. The fox uses its high-frequency hearing to locate small rodents under the frozen ground, ensuring quick encounters to avoid thermal exposure. In this boreal geography, the gelid climate becomes the supreme predator that requires no claws to neutralize the vitality of wild beings. Polar nights impose a technical pause, where the absolute silence is only interrupted by the crackling of the mineral relief before the cold's pressure. Only lineages endowed with a superior biological architecture manage to persist in the heart of the most hostile and majestic winter in North America. With the increase in solar radiation and the rise in temperature above 0 degrees Celsius, the Yukon begins its most awaited awakening. The caribou feels the call of its origin, activating a displacement instinct that will mobilize thousands of individuals toward breeding areas. This great migration completes the annual cycle, a journey of physical endurance that challenges the changing geography of the Arctic spring. Grizzly bears emerge from their thermal refuges with an accelerated metabolism, seeking to recover their mass after months of prolonged inactivity. The grey wolf monitors the flock's progress, maintaining technical vigilance to intercept any opportunity in the difficult passages of the relief. The snowmelt transforms silent streams into rushing channels, turning the rivers into the most complex hydrological obstacle of the route. The current deploys a considerable mechanical flow force, demanding superior muscular power so that the caribou maintain their trajectory. Upon reaching the bank of a massive river, the herd congregates, evaluating the liquid's dynamics before starting the decisive crossing. Elite trackers position themselves strategically on both banks, awaiting the migrants' moment of greatest biological vulnerability. The Grizzly uses its 8,000 Newton power to intervene at points where fatigue reduces the mobility of young individuals. The wolves coordinate their movements in shallow water, using the rugged terrain to limit the group's escape routes. Biological tension reaches its maximum level while hundreds of beings struggle against the flow pressure and the terrestrial sovereign's surveillance. Each caribou that manages to reach the opposite bank is a testimony to the supreme resilience that guarantees its ancestral lineage's continuity. This river encounter is the climax of an odyssey that balances the food web of the taiga and the Canadian tundra. Upon completing its migratory route, wildlife ensures that the vibrant heartbeat of the North persists for another generation under the Yukon sky. With the return of the summer sun, the Yukon relief sheds its white mantle to reveal a geography of supreme vitality. The Yukon River flows with a massive volume of crystalline liquid, acting as the main artery that nourishes all boreal biodiversity. The displacement of the caribou activates a biological gear where each step mobilizes the trackers that depend on their migratory transit. Millions of salmon ascend the channels, transporting oceanic energy into the depths of the taiga and the claws of terrestrial sovereigns. This ecosystem works as a perfect circle, where the migration of one species inevitably drives the response of all others. The grey wolf's sovereignty and the grizzly's power synchronize with the thermal changes that dictate the seasonal abundance of resources. In this extreme latitude, surviving demands much more than a mechanical force measured in thousands of newtons in each physical encounter. Inhabitants must possess the technical intelligence to discern when is the moment for capture and when tactical stealth is necessary. Biological success in the north depends on the capacity for adaptation to know when to hide and when it is imperative to continue the transit. The Yukon is the testimony of a nature that never stops, a geography where constant mobility is the only law of existence. To honor the majesty of this kingdom is to understand the fragility and power of a system that renews itself under the midnight sun. The Yukon's pulse will continue to beat as long as the great trackers and their prey complete the eternal circle of wildlife. Subscribe to the channel in addition to sharing this video to carry this message of respect far. Every gesture helps protect nature's wonderful creation.